How's it going, everyone? Welcome to G-Ball Vision. Today we have a new Vosteed to check out. While we get started, let us know down in the comments what your EDC is today. And I have a feeling this one is going to be, like many other Vosteeds, a very popular model. Let's get this thing out of here and see what we are looking at. Great packaging, as always, from Vosteed. And we are looking at the brand new raccoon. But this isn't just any old raccoon. It's not the sheep's foot. It's not the drop point. It is going to be the new clip point version. And oh man, that is beautiful. I think that is the most fitting blade shape for the raccoon that I've seen so far. I love the sheep's foot, love the drop point, but that clip point being nice and low, you still have that really nice pokey tip, and that is almost directly in line with that pivot, maintaining a nice low profile so you can still use it. You can choke up, get right up on top of that. I was hoping that this was the case. You can choke up right behind the edge as well because they have this flattened off very, very nicely. That is going to be absolute money right there. We are looking at 14C 28N steel, which is great. Vosteed does a very good job with this. With 14C, I believe this comes in a wide range of different configurations, coated and uncoated blades, different kinds of micarta. We have a top liner lock, which is going to be the cherry on top for me personally with this knife. That clip point in 14C with the button top liner lock, button compression lock, whatever you want to say. The lock is so good. So strong, but so nimble and fun to mess around with because of that button. They texture it with some diamond texturing. It looks very good. It feels good. The micarta is really nice as well. And we have a filler tab here because they gave the option for lefties to mount this left-handed, or you can just carry it left-handed. It is recessed, and the screws are as well. Very, very nicely done. We have a lanyard hole in the back end here. I love this knife even more. And it can only be run up so far, but as far as they could run a backspacer up this thing, I know it is a top liner lock, so it could probably only go so far, but man, would this knife be even better with a backspacer. But I say that about everything. So what are we looking at in terms of the dimensions and specs on this thing? And everything should be relatively the same. We are going to be coming in at it's 7.5 strong. You could call it 7.6 if you feel like. We are looking at 2 7/8 of cutting edge, 3 1/4 overall. We'll put up a couple of comparisons here with the full-size Benchmade bug out and the Kaiser drop bear here on the bottom. And you'll see it's a little bit bigger than both of those. And fittingly enough, I always use the Vosteed Raccoon in the secondary slot, and you'll see that it is the same size as the drop point there, but just a touch smaller than the full-size Kaiser Militol. And I have a really funny story actually about this knife, but we have the CJRB Bowie Pyrite here up at the top, and I have been asked by a couple dozen people maybe at this point about which knife would I go with between these two and which one should they go with, and all sorts of different questions asking me to compare the knives, and it's been quite a few people at this point in time. And we'll dive into that here in a moment, but as far as comparison's sake, the Bowie Pyrite in its regular configuration here is a little bit smaller than the Vosteed Bowie Raccoon. And I brought out the sheep's foot. We have the drop point here, and you'll see they are all the same size, just with varying blade shapes. And as I said, I'm sticking with it. I love sheep's foots and I love drop points, but I am a clip point fanatic, a Bowie fanatic, and if they can keep that tip nice and low, like they have done here with both of these, I am all for it because you get that nice pokey tip. You can still use it very easily if you have detailed cuts that you'd like to do or that you like to do. It gives you a ton of control, and it's laid out similarly to the Bowie. I'd say there's a little bit more room here on the Vosteed side of things. They both have great sharpening choils, good ergonomics, and they're both going to be very affordable. And as you can see, the Raccoon is going to come in 3 different blade shapes. You're going to have 2 or 3 different locks. I'm not sure if they make the plunge lock anymore. It might be just 2 locks at this point. I used to have a couple button lock versions, but I think I gave them away at this point. Wish I didn't give the one away, so I had it for comparison's sake, but that is okay. The button compression lock and the crossbar lock are 2 of the best locks right now going. And the funny story about the drop point Raccoon here, I was looking for that knife for a video the one night, and I have a couple different knife cases, and I have knives up here on the table that you guys can't see out of your range of view, right? And I looked through all of my cases, a couple of knife rolls that I have some different knives in, and I could not find this knife for the life of me. I probably looked for a good hour on and off for the knife. And boy, I decided to calm down and do an unboxing on a knife, and look at what I found on my table because it's a comparison knife. Oh man, what a fun time. Anyway, this is going to carry nice and deep. Vosteed likes to mount their clips just a touch lower, and that gives you a little bit to grab a hold of out of the pocket, which is a great thing in my opinion. I don't mind this layout and this clip whatsoever. I think it works really well. It carries deep, but not so deep that you'd have trouble getting to the knife. So I do really like that. I also like how they spice these models up with, you know, the aluminum anodized thumb studs if you want to go that route, or you can go with just plain Jane. They have tons of different versions at this point. Perfectly centered up there. And as far as the weight goes, it should be the same across the board. We might as well go ahead and check all of them, right? Just for comparison's sake. 3.3. 3 ounces on the dot. I guess I should know that. Probably the same. Yep. Crossbar version. They got that one maybe a little lighter, probably 2.93. And then the steel and Bowie pyrite here, that is going to be a little bit heavier, coming in at 3.8. But there are different variations of the Bowie pyrite. So as far as the Bowie Raccoon here, we are looking at 86 grams and 3.0 ounces. We'll go ahead and check our handle thickness here on the Bowie Raccoon. And we're coming in at 0.48. As far as the Bowie pyrite, we're looking at 0.40. Blade stock on the Bowie pyrite coming in at 103 thousandths. On the Raccoon here, coming in at 114 thousandths. BTE behind the edge here. That's coming down around 18 thousandths, maybe even a little thinner than that. And then on the Bowie pyrite here, a little bit thicker, about 20 thousandths. Let's go ahead and see how the Bowie Raccoon cuts out of the box. I mean, tell me you don't love this. Where else are you going to get all this information in an unboxing as well as a comparison and it still be pretty short and sweet? I don't think you're going to get that anywhere else. Let's go ahead and check this thing. I'm not tooting my own horn or nothing, but let's go ahead and see what we got here. They're both going to cut fairly similar. The Raccoon is going to be a little bit thinner behind the edge, and it's got a little bit thicker blade stock, so that is going to make for a very good cutter right there. They both cut pretty good. The factor that you need to consider is the CJRB is going to be coming in RPM 9, where the Vosteed Bowie Raccoon is going to be coming in 14C. The other factor to consider is the Vosteed is going to come in around $70 base price, and the base price for the Bowie Pyrite is going to be about $48. So $20+ difference there. That is going to come into play for a lot of people. Some people will not spend over $50, and I don't blame them. You can get a hell of a knife for under $50 these days. So that is going to be a factor to consider right there. The $20 price difference, to some, that's nothing. To others, that makes all the difference in the world. So in that case, as far as being price conscious and all that sort of thing, the Bowie Pyrite's probably a very good, safe bet in that case. I would say for any and all other circumstances, though, I would probably go with, and I would go with, the Bowie Raccoon here. It's a little bit broader of a knife. It's a little bit bigger, a little bit thicker, a little bit taller, all the way around. We're also dealing with, in my personal preference, 14C is an amazing steal at $70 at any price under $80 any price under $100, and even past $100 if we're talking better handle materials. So I'm a huge fan of 14C. Anyone who's been around the channel for a little bit knows that. I love it. It's a great steal. We're also talking a button compression lock, so you get all the fun and fidgetiness of a button plunge lock, but you're going to get all the durability of a very strong lock. So two totally different locking systems between the two if you're not familiar. The plunge lock can be a very good lock, but it has to be done properly. The button compression lock, I have tested so many of those, and I have beaten the hell out of this Raccoon here, and no issues whatsoever. Speaking of the lock, let's go ahead and check this one. And not to mention the unboxing, the comparisons, and all that. I did that on the fly. I wasn't even planning on doing that. I was just going to do a routine unboxing here, but I twisted that all in just for you guys. So we're going to check this lock and see what this thing is made of here. Make sure it stands up to our button compression lock standards here. Light tap to get us going. Close it, check it. Medium taps there. And because we know we can push it, I don't tip it, I don't always do it, but we're gonna do extra hard. Very good. That's exactly what I wanna see there. Triple tap, good to go. I have tested this one so many times, it's not even funny. Coated on coated. Their crossbar locks are done well. Not a button lock. Very good. And we get to the Bowie Pyrite. And like I said, you can do a button plunge lock well. And CJRB does. They do a good job. They give a good, satisfying deployment, nice strong springs, great closing action, and it holds up pretty well. Am I going to trust a button plunge lock, though, as much as a button compression lock? No. No, I am not. They just have not, they don't have a good history. Not with me, not anywhere. But they have gotten so much better over the last year and a half. Companies have really dialed them in. But as companies have dialed them in, companies have transferred over to button compression locks, pivot-based button locks, and they are also moving to button frame locks, which I am a huge proponent of as well. I love button frame locks. They're very fun, very strong, and very rigid knives. At the end of the day, comparing the two, they're $20 in difference, and I think CJRB could honestly put out a very comparable model to this. If they wanted to up the price to $70 or whatever, say $75, I fully believe CJRB could put something in that competes with this. But with the $20 price difference, you know, we're going to see that this is a little bit more inexpensive. But there is a caveat to all of this. And that is going to be, what does the SF2 steel from CJRB perform like? Does it perform similar to 154cm, VG10, and steels of that nature? We need more information. If it does, here is something that's like $90. So we're talking $20 more than this feller here. And this thing is ridiculously well done. Sand polish finish, extremely good button lock action. And I look for CJRB to move to some different locks and continue doing button plunge locks. I think all companies pretty much will, at least a little bit, but I think most companies will go to something else for their button style lock. But this is kind of a caveat right here and kind of an unknown, because this could obviously easily compete with the Bowie Raccoon here. You guys will have to let me know which one out of the three or out of these five would you go with, and why would you go with it? Me personally, I'm probably going to take this one right here out of all of these. For $70, until we get more information, I'm going to take that one here. It would be a toss-up if this steel holds up the way that I'm hoping it does and the way that CJRB and Artisan say that it will. It'll be a really tough call between these two, because some of the final touches they put on these, on the Bowie Pyrites in this category, it's really good stuff. Really nice finish on the blade, really nice micarta. They hit all the marks with the new Bowie Pyrites here in the SF2. We just need a little bit more information on the SF2, and I will feel a lot better moving forward. You guys will have to let me know which one you taken out of these and why. Don't forget to hit the thumbs up button. It helps push the video to more people. And if you're new to my channel here and you enjoy this type of content, you're in the right place. Make sure you subscribe, because I release daily videos just like this. Make sure you ring the bell. That'll notify you when I do release these videos. And I'll put a couple of new ones up on your screen right now that YouTube is recommending you go check out. Have yourself an awesome day. Thank you all again for watching. I will catch you on the next one.